You don't have to wait for life to be good for you to be at peace. So we think that all of these challenges in life, we think that all the challenges that come our way are the reasons why we are not peaceful inside. And that's simply not true. That's what we choose to believe. That's what we're told, that when we get somewhere, all of this inner struggle goes away. But that's not how it happens. It happens by going inward. So every time we talk about anything, it's always going to come back to becoming centered in yourself, from going inside and connecting to a truth that you have within you. Now, I can point you there. I can guide you there, but you're the one that has to access that truth. You're the one that has to say, yes, this is true for me, or no, this is not. And push what is not aside. Nobody outside of you can tell you what you need to know. You can generate that within. So we're always going to come back to that space of, what do I need to know here? What can I learn? And how can I use the challenges from the external world as a way to deepen that relationship with myself? But actually, how can I use the challenges to become more at peace? Which is such a different way to look at it. We oftentimes think, whenever next week I won't be as busy, right? Next week, the kids' schedule slows down. Next week, my business doesn't have as many activities, or I'll finally get done with this sales page, or I'll finally get done with this. And so I can have a little more space to breathe. And then guess what? Next freaking week brings more stuff your way, more challenges, right? More disruptors, more distractions. And so when your relationship with challenge and even distraction in your life, which oftentimes leads to the challenge, when your relationship to that is that it is something that slows you down, then you will always be slowed down from it. It will always be a disruptor in your life. So what we're doing today is we're going into that truth, and we're starting to look at challenge a little bit in a different way. We're starting to see it, not sugarcoating. We never sugarcoat stuff. It does nobody any good to just sugarcoat stuff, just to slap an affirmation on your mirror and say, I am this. And you think that that's what you're going to become without wading through all of the dark, ooey gooey, sticky stuff that makes you look at that affirmation and say, absolutely not, or only when, or if. Okay, so we're not doing that. We're not sugarcoating. We're not suppressing. What we're doing is we're looking at challenges as a way to say, what can I see from this? And why is it here? And why is it present? And what can I do with it? We're changing that relationship with the challenge. We're using it as a way to push us forward and inward, right? In to go forward. That's the goal. So when we think about challenges, we think about different things that come up. And these can be very big, big, big challenges, like a death in the family. And this can be, more day-to-day challenges, as well as like your kids not sleeping very well at night. There's so many different ways that we create challenges and distractions from our growth. And so when we talk about growth as well, we're talking about inner growth, like your personal development growth, your spiritual development, that growth, and also business growth and relationship growth, and all these other spaces that we always want to nurture and foster and grow. Those are always something that are present for us. So that's what we're talking about. The challenges and the distractions from going inside of us, from knowing our truth. And so oftentimes our relationship with challenge is what really disrupts this. Because when we're constantly either fulfilling a self-fulfilling prophecy of waiting for the challenge to drop, oh, I knew that was coming. It always does. That was my story. I used to say all the time I was a 1%er. Like, if the 1% was going to happen, it's going to happen to me. And this happened over and over and over. I very much fulfilled my own prophecy by stating this and looking for it and then experiencing it. If a very small thing was to happen in a medical situation at that point in my life, guess who was that 1%er that happened to? There were so many different things that I became that self-fulfilling prophecy because I believed it to be true. And that was what was happening, right? So this is not just some woo-woo trick of your brain. And as soon as you change that belief, all your external situations stop. That's not it. But when we stop thriving and looking and creating certain things in our life, we will stop experiencing them. And then when they do come, because a lot of these are external events, and then when the relation or that external event does come our way, that's a challenge, we don't latch onto it and use it as an identity or an entire personality trait. Like we're not just like, oh, yes, I'm that one percenter. Of course I am. And now, boom, it's another patch on us and another patch that proves why we're that one percenter. It's just what's happening. It's just something that's coming into our awareness. It's just something that's present right now. It doesn't have to be more than that. And when we look at it like that and we don't create these entire stories and identities to it, then we can actually move through the challenge. So if you're somebody who is always late all the time, if you identify with being late and that's your challenge, I can guarantee you're going to continue to be late until you stop identifying with someone who runs late. It is just simply how it works because we create subconsciously, we create the actions that now become our reality. And if we think we are something, then we're going to be that. So if you think that you are a very successful person who operates at high levels in the world, and you are attracting the people that are meant to be attracted to you, then you're going to do that. Now, again, this isn't some woo-woo like mystical thing where you close your eyes and I am this, and you open your eyes and all these people are in front of you. No, it's truly stepping into that ability to see that future version for yourself by changing the relationship with your challenge. And so now you may be like, you've lost me, Kayla. I don't even get where you're going with this. But we're going to pull this together by looking at that inner truth. That's what we were talking about at the beginning of the video. What is my inner truth? And how can I start to sort through that? How can I start to see myself a little more clearly by pulling away the conditioned thoughts, the conditioned, ideas that I have of myself and just be really, really settled into who I am, what I'm good at, and how can I also trust that I'm able to handle challenges that come my way, external situations that are on their way to me? Because we can't outrun the challenge, but we can change our relationship to the challenge when it comes our way. If we trust ourselves, if we step into that truth and we trust ourselves, then we can not fall into the pattern that we've created to identify with the challenge. So again, it doesn't mean that they're gone. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have an issue with right before I did this video, my husband and I were struggling so much on how to get the tech right. So many different things weren't going well. When one thing would get fixed, something else would go wrong. And so easily an old version of me would have fallen into the pattern of course, I'm trying to sit down. Of course, I'm trying to record some content and some videos. So of course technology isn't working. And I could have very much identified that with that and let that frustration build and build and build. And then I wouldn't be here recording this video because I would have let that challenge disrupt my peace instead of saying, technology kind of sucks. Super grateful for it because now I'm doing this and now we are connected in this way. And it is frustrating, but there is a solution. There is something that we can do. And I don't have to identify with this challenge and it become my whole personality. And if you don't know what I'm talking about by it becoming your whole personality, what I mean is we truly find these things in our life, and that is what we attach to, being the one percenter, being, somebody who's just not good at technology, or every time you try to do something, something goes wrong. You are the one attaching to that so tightly. And so these challenges become disruptors instead of these challenges becoming openers. So a challenge can say, I don't know much about this. And for me, I didn't have to personally learn how to open up with the technology. That was my husband. But that was the opening, the expansiveness of how can I be patient while this is happening? How can I not let this disrupt my peace so I can still be present and bring the message forward that needs to be brought forward while not allowing something that could have stopped us. It was a long time for it to get fixed to be the disruptor. And I want you to think about that in your life. What are the everyday disruptors for you? What are the things that really push you from moving forward, that really push your momentum back and say, no, I can't do this, or no, I can't do that. And the ones that you create the stories around, that it's, oh, of course, this is happening again. This always happens to me. People are never there for me. People always leave me. People don't support me in my business. People don't show up for me. Nobody takes care of me. I have to take care of everybody else, right? I could go on and on and on and on about these disruptive challenges in our life. Instead of changing our relationship to it and saying, if people aren't there to support me, how do I support myself? How can I support myself here? How can I stop trying to look for validation outside of me and tap into that truth that's within me that I know to be true and step forward? Because if I'm going to be that successful person, I'm going to act like it. I'm going to push myself forward. I'm going to create an environment that brings in and calls in that success. I'm going to show up as the person that I want to become because I already am that person. So I'm going to start experiencing life as that person, not experiencing life any longer as this person who gets pushed down or gets held back or holds himself back. Right? So you start to separate from those identities and you start to experience life as in a way that you want to, in the position that you want to, in that we'll even just call it frequency that you want to. Right. So you start to change your relationship with what's happening in here. And so instead of your truth being that you can't handle this or that you're going to fail or that things aren't going to work out because they never have in your perceived mind up until now, you start to say, things are going to work out for me because I am going to put myself out there. I am going to be vulnerable. I am going to face my challenges and I am going to look at challenges as a way to go inward to see what I need to see and see where I am doubting myself or see what belief needs to be shattered or changed or shifted. And so when we want to create external success, we have to change our relationship with challenge. We can't keep waiting for challenge to come in a way that pulls us back. You become that self-fulfilling prophecy. You become that cycle of getting a little bit further and then boom, pulling yourself back. So change that relationship. When challenge comes, what can I learn about this? What can I learn about myself? What support can I get? And how can I grow from it each and every time? Right. And then you do the work that says, oh, you can't. Something comes up and it's like, well, you're not smart enough or you're not capable enough or any of those things, then like we talk about all the time, you have to look at that thought and you have to start to pick it apart. You have to create some separation from it. And is that even true? What's the truth that's within me? And how can I settle into that even deeper? So I really challenge you to go ahead first into challenges, to really allow yourself that expansiveness to learn something new about you, to look at challenges as a way to grow and expand instead of a way to contract, instead of just validating that it wasn't right for you or that you're not good enough or capable enough. Just allow yourself to experience the challenge and move through it because you can and you're capable. And I believe in you. So I would love for you to tap into that belief for yourself as well.